How's it going, folks? I'm Duz with DuzFit, and this is the brand new second generation Apple Watch SE. So when Apple created the original SE, their goal was to create an Apple Watch with all the core functionality that you may need, like great smartwatch features, tight integration with your iPhone, as well as plenty of health and fitness features. It was basically for somebody who didn't necessarily need a lot of the fancier features that came on a Series 6 or Series 7, and they're continuing that trend with the second generation SE with plenty of features for the money, along with some updated hardware. So in today's video, we're going to go over everything new with the second generation SE. And if you're not familiar with my style of reviews, I like to go into a lot of detail on the fitness and sports end of things, where I test these devices with a variety of different activities like running, cycling, as well as weight training, just to give you a good idea if this device is going to be right for you. And if you do find the information in this video to be useful, do me a favor and just quickly hit that like button down below. Oh, and if you're curious about how the new second generation Apple Watch SE compares to the new Apple Watch Series 8, I've got another super in-depth review of the Series 8, which I'll have linked down in the description below. So to start out with, Apple changed the hardware on the new SE slightly, where they now have a color matching nylon composite material on the back of the case, and they say this reduces the carbon footprint of the SE by about 80%, which is cool, but it also reduces the weight slightly by about 3 grams. You can sort of notice the difference, but it's not super drastic though, but both of these are comfortable watches. The new SE comes in 3 different colors, so there's a white color, a silver color, and this midnight version that I have for you here today, and it also comes in 2 different sizes, a 40mm and a 44mm size, and this is how the 44mm version looks on my 187mm circumference wrist. And then for connectivity options, you can opt for either GPS version or GPS plus cellular version, but don't worry, with either one, you'll still be able to go out and track your outdoor activities without the need for your phone using the watch's built-in GPS. It's just that with the cellular version, you'll be able to stay connected with texts and calls, but do note that that requires a little add-on plan for your watch. Another thing new with the second gen SE is that it now has the S8 SiP dual-core processor, and that's a pretty big jump from the original SE that had the S5 package, and it's supposedly supposed to be 20% faster. Another new feature with the second gen SE is that it now has a high G accelerometer, and they use that in conjunction with the gyroscope, the barometer, the microphone, as well as GPS to attempt to detect severe car crashes, and then it'll attempt to contact emergency services. Basically a feature I never want to see tested, but it is kind of cool to see them leverage all these sensors together along with the connectivity of your phone for this type of safety feature. And by the way, LTE enabled second gen SEs, you can use this feature without your phone nearby as long as your watch has a cell connection. The new SE also gets more advanced sleep tracking, where it can track sleep stages, and it gives you a pretty detailed breakdown not only on the health app on your phone, but also on the watch itself. And this is a watchOS 9 feature, by the way, so other Apple Watches that support watchOS 9 can benefit from this feature as well. And then on the battery life end of things, the new SE comes with the same 18-hour all-day battery life that Apple claims, but I've always found Apple's battery life estimates to be pretty conservative, where I usually get about 24 hours out of them, even with tracking some outdoor activities. And that's basically what I'm seeing out of the new SE is around 24 hours, at least in my use case. But the second gen SE also comes with a new low power mode that came out with watchOS 9, and what this does is extend the battery life to around a day and a half, and how it does this is it disables things like background heart rate measurements as well as limits notifications. But what's nice about this low power mode is that for workouts, you're still going to get full-blown GPS and heart rate recording accuracy, so it's just going to be as accurate as in the normal mode. One thing that you may notice though for workouts in the low power mode is that they actually don't display the hundredths of a second. So this is what a workout looks like in the normal power mode, and then this is what it looks like in the low power mode. It's kind of interesting. But they are going to be releasing a workout specific low power mode a little bit later this year, where it'll reduce the GPS and heart rate samplings to increase battery life for workouts. But unfortunately, that feature isn't out quite yet, but make sure to have those notification bells on when I drop a video about that new feature. And then on the sports and fitness side of things, just like the previous generation SE, the new SE has tons of different workout profiles to choose from everything like running both indoors and outdoors, cycling inside and outside, weight training, plenty of other gym profiles, pool swimming, open water swimming. There's seriously a crazy amount of workout profiles to choose from. The new SE also benefits from new features in watchOS 9 like new workout views, which provide more data for your workouts. And how you access these is just by rotating the digital crown during your workout, or you can swipe up and down on the screen. I actually have another video where I went into a lot of detail on this feature, and I'll have that video linked down in the description below. Another new thing with watchOS 9 is that the second gen SE has running power. Running power is designed to provide another metric for training versus something like pace. So pace can be a good indicator, but it also can be skewed with things like changes in grade, wind, as well as the surfaces that you're running on. So the goal of running power is to measure the power or force to propel yourself, and it uses the sensors on the watch to do this. Running power is something relatively new, but it's quickly gaining a lot of popularity. But as of this point, there's really no industry standard in terms of the actual number that a device may be delivering. So you will see a difference from something like an Apple Watch to a Garmin device to a FootPod. But that's not necessarily important. What is important is that the trends line up, as in if I'm increasing power, let's say going up a hill, I should see all these devices report an increase in power and vice versa. And by the way, I use the HealthFit iOS app to sync this data from Apple Health, which I can then export to Strava with my running power. And then for how well the second generation SE does for tracking sports, let's first start out with GPS accuracy for tracking outdoor activities. So on this run here, we see the new SE line up basically perfectly with the other devices I was using as references. And then for this longer bike ride here, again, it was right in line. Now, for the finer detail of the actual GPS tracks, this part does get a little bit geeky, but the SE, which you'll see in orange, was basically exactly the same as the other devices I was using that actually have more powerful GPS. I used to see with previous Apple Watches that there was sometimes some smoothing around some corners where it wasn't super accurate, but I don't really see that with the new SE. But that is also something that I saw an improvement on with older devices with some firmware updates over the last couple of years, so I think all Apple Watches are pretty accurate in that department now. And then on the road ride that we just saw earlier, again, the new SE was right in line with the other devices I was using, even around all the curvy sections. Good stuff. Alright, so for heart rate accuracy, the second gen SE appears to have the same heart rate sensor as the previous generation SE, which to be honest with you, I found to be great. So let's see if anything has changed with a new version. So on the following examples, I'll have the second gen Apple Watch SE in orange, and then the other sensors are a chest heart rate strap as well as an optical arm heart rate strap for comparison. And this first session is indoor cycling, and even all the changes in heart rate through the ride, the SE was very good. There was a couple second delay on these hard sprints at the end, but that's pretty normal for a wrist-based optical heart rate sensor. And then taking this outside running, well, this is pretty solid as well. We did have this spot right here in the middle of the run where there was a little blip, but funny enough, the arm heart rate sensor read a little bit funny there as well. Now, running is generally a pretty easy activity for a wrist-based optical heart rate sensor to track accurately, but now let's take it on a road ride outside, and now we're going to introduce a lot more variables like gripping onto the handlebars, as well as a lot of vibrations and bumps in the road, which can throw off these types of sensors. And well, I guess that's no problem at all for the second gen SE. I mean, that's super crispy here, folks, even with the rapid changes in heart rate. If I had to nitpick, there was this one spot right here where it tracked a few beats per minute high, but that's it. The rest is rock solid. Okay, so now onto one of the most challenging activities for wrist-based optical heart rate sensor, weight training. And this is where we're gripping onto dumbbells, which can throw off these sensors, as well as a lot of varying arm movement, which these kinds of sensors don't tend to like. And the SE did really well here. Again, probably more accurate than the arm heart rate sensor. Looking at some of these sets, like on these bicep curls here, it tracked most of these very closely to the chest heart rate strap. And then on these tricep extensions here, very good as well. And it also did a good job in these high intensity intervals at the end, maybe except for the last one where it spiked just a little bit. But overall, for weight training, this is a very good result for a wrist-based optical heart rate sensor. So the new second gen Apple Watch SE, well, it's a nice little update to the original. And it's a great option for those of you out there who want to save some money while still getting a great smartwatch, as well as a very capable fitness device. It may not have the always on display, the ECG or the blood oxygen saturation measurements of the Series 8, but it still offers a lot for the money, and it performs very well in the fitness and sports end of things. But if you are curious about how the second gen Apple Watch SE compares to the new Apple Watch Series 8, feel free to check out that video now that you're done over here. And if you found the information in this video to be useful, do me a favor and just quickly hit that like button down below, and also subscribe to the channel for plenty more sports tech videos that are around the corner. In the meantime, have fun out there, and we will see you in the next video.